All right, boys. I don't know how many more Diablo videos we're gonna be having, but this one I've heard a lot about. I've seen a lot of people react to this. I didn't watch them. I'm gonna go in blind. Rise and Fall of D4, baby. It's dead.
At almost 7 million players,
Wait,
long
what?
queue times, and celebrity. On June 6th of 2023, Diablo 4 officially launched, and it was an instant home run success. Twitch was booming, the concurrent player base peaked at almost 7 million players, long queue times.
Bro, all right. I'm gonna try not to pause like too much throughout this video because it's literally a 30-minute video. Bro, D4's launch was so much fun. Like that was like the first time in forever. People were taking off of work, people were calling out of work for the next day to grind. Like I could at any time. My dad was playing, Ev was playing, Hug was playing, the boys were playing. Like I could get on D4 at any given hour of any day, and I had someone to run with and just bullshit with and do things with until it took its turn. But dude, D4's launch was probably like it was a great launch. It was so much fun, and then eventually, they just kind of really shit the bed afterwards. I don't know if it's because everybody was just in the beginning and in the campaign, because obviously once we all got kind of like high level, we dropped it. But yeah, D4 launch was crazy. D4 launch was nuts.
And celebrities partook in the ride. Everybody thought this was the game they were going to call home for a while.
Everybody's playing that right now.
There are as little as 400 people watching Diablo 4 on Twitch. Players are forced to complete world bosses and events completely on their own, and player population dropped by over 99%. The economy between Eternal and Seasonal realms have been destroyed by rampant bugs. Season 1 content was an absolute disaster, and Season 2 looks to be the exact same. How did this happen?
I won't say Season 2 looks like a complete... Like, I don't think it's going to be as bad as Season 1. Like, it really can't get much worse. Like, Season 1 was just bad. Like, okay, so I have to kill this creature for them to drop something, for me, I have to wait to click it, and then for them to do something else to drop something else. Like, it was just too much. So they made better changes to the game, I would say, as far as bug fixes, efficiency, and things like that going into 2 than they did for 1, for sure. Like, let's not forget, going into Season 1, they did the worst patch probably in gaming history. So I think it's a bit of a better start, but I wouldn't say that, like, it's as bad as Season 1. Season 1 was bad.
Where did this once beloved franchise go wrong? And what will it take to fix it? Today I'm going to explore the timeline of Diablo 4 from pre-release to what the game is now. Grab a cup of coffee and settle in, because this is the complete timeline of how Diablo 4 became the biggest disappointment in gaming history. Of course, I want to give a big thank you to the YouTube subscription members who keep this dream alive by directly supporting the channel. We truly couldn't do it without you, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later.
I mean, if it's too quiet.
Now, ever since the late 90s, Blizzard Entertainment has been a staple in the gaming world, making some of the most popular and beloved gaming franchises of all time. The Warcraft trilogy, StarCraft, Diablo, Hearthstone, Overwatch, and their most popular, the World of Warcraft. The Diablo franchise in particular was a real heavy hitter. It embodied the true heart and soul of what the company stood for at the time. An incredible RPG gaming experience that is a mix of fantasy and dark gothic horror that many people across the world just couldn't put down.
I never played early Diablo.
Diablo 2 released in the year 2000 and had a profound impact on the gaming world and revolutionized the ARPG genre. The social aspect alone fostered a sense of community among players, paving the way for future online multiplayer games. And if you didn't want to play online, you didn't have to. The game left a permanent mark on the gaming world.
Not an option in this game.
Multiplayer features, innovative gameplay mechanics, expansion packs, and DLCs that influenced countless titles that followed it. This iconic game remains relevant even 2 decades after its initial release, leaving people hooked to this day. By the time Diablo 3 went into production, a whole new development team was in place, and in many eyes, this time period was the beginning of the end for Blizzard Entertainment.
Ooh.
With the game finally launching on May 15th, 2012, the infamous Error 37 plagued the internet, leaving countless players in limbo, on launch day.
This is a message to the people who work for Blizzard. Can't even play the fucking game! This is bullshit! This is bullshit! I paid money, cash money, dollars money, cash money!
The auction house.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, man. I remember D4 launch, man. I think I streamed it. I want to say maybe it was the last open beta. I'm pretty sure it was launched though. We waited, and this really isn't like that long, but we waited 45 minutes for it to go down to 0 minutes, for it to then say 45 minutes before you can play again. That shit was brutal.
Doing more harm than good gave you the opportunity as a player to spend hundreds of dollars of your hard-earned real-life money on items in the game. And this benefited Blizzard greatly because they took a $1 cut on every successful auction. And with the game's insane levels of progressive difficulty, it meant that if you wanted to progress in the game effectively, the perfect gear was just in wallet's reach for nearly 2 years until it was finally
yeah, baby, more money.
It took many years of innovation to bring Diablo 3 to where it is today. DLCs, seasons being implemented, greater rifts, and non-stop updates for nearly 10 years. A game with a disastrous launch and some fundamental problems with its core design has grown into one of Blizzard's most long-lasting and beloved games that is currently being played and viewed as much as Diablo.
Ooh, yeah, I mean, like I said, I've said it before, like, I didn't really get into Diablo 3 until way later, and it sounds like that was the better move, but they're different games. Like, there's things I like more in Diablo 4 than I do in 3, but yeah, I mean, if I had to pick a better game, I mean, it's probably Diablo 3 right now, for the most part.
4. Now, with 3 games in the franchise under its belt, Blizzard was looking to announce Diablo 4 at BlizzCon. But with the horrific Diablo Immortal announcement at BlizzCon 2018,
both Android and iOS, we don't have any plans at the moment to do PC.
Oh.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have
Everyone's got a
phones,
phone.
right?
trying to build excitement for yet another Blizzard game is something that seems very grim in today's world. The once king of kings in game development has fallen very far from what they once were. They're hoping their heavy hitter franchise like Diablo can once again spark life into the cold bitter shell Blizzard is today. It all started with a grand announcement at BlizzCon, building hype and excitement amongst the fans. Easily being one of their greatest cinematics to date, the Diablo 4 announcement trailer left fans excited and happy to see Blizzard attempt and return to their truly dark and gothic roots of Diablo 2. Once the announcement trailer dropped, Blizzard was officially on the clock from the fans. And then, disaster struck.
More than 1,500 Activision Blizzard employees are calling for the resignation of the company's CEO, Bobby Kotick.
That Kotick had known about things, and he also had threatened to have an assistant killed at one point.
The company began to truly unravel midway through the development in 2021, with a major lawsuit against Activision Blizzard being filed for a near 2-year running investigation.
Oh yeah,
into
we
the
all
company
remember
from
this
the
one.
State of California. Between the sexual allegations, unfair and unethical treatment toward women in the workplace, and more dark, evil secrets being surfaced, hundreds of employees at Blizzard walk out to protest against this frat boy culture and even more quit or...
Oh, so that's why the game shit the bed. It was nobody was working. They were all protesting the whole company as a whole. Oh, okay, guys, it makes sense.
step down from the company, leaving everything in disarray. And Diablo 4 was no exception to this. The ongoing sexual harassment lawsuit took a major toll on Blizzard, and the company bled high-quality developers and talent rapidly. In Blizzard's earning report for investors, they clearly stated that it has become apparent that some of the Blizzard content planned for the next year will benefit from more development time to reach its full potential. They also said they need extra time to complete production and continue growing their creative resources to support the titles after launch. Though not stated explicitly, the wording in the report implies that neither Overwatch 2 or Diablo 4 will launch before 2023.
Well, I mean, all they had to do was just... dude, I don't know, man. I would not have cared if Diablo took longer to come out and it was just a better game in general. I wish these companies would stop caring so much about, like, turnaround times and really sticking true to a date. I mean, look, Starfield took 20 years to come out. I think it still doesn't look good, but... They had no problem pushing back time. Python, bro, I appreciate tier 1, man. 16
So
months.
with no other option,
Nuts.
Diablo 4 was officially delayed.
Oh.
For a while during this time, Blizzard did what they do best. Feed and prey off the nostalgia of previous games from their fans. The nostalgia of the great times this company once had. They went down the line and re-released titles of all their beloved games. Classic World of Warcraft, which led to what is now the re-release of the Wrath of the Lich King. Warcraft Reforged, which was a convoluted disaster. And finally, Diablo 2 Resurrected. They knew that by releasing these games, it would make them hundreds of millions of dollars and give them more time to try and develop something new that the fans would come to love once again. But time and time after, they fail to follow through with that promise and always come up short. With the new day and age of Blizzard's monetization, where they squeeze everything they can take, it finally took its toll. Classic era of World of Warcraft having expansion pack passes, character boosts, and now a new WoW token across expansions where you can literally buy gold with real life money. Overwatch 2 being a copy of Overwatch 1 with egregious monetization and broken promises of new content and story that never came to light. Warcraft Reforged being a reskin with even more broken promises. At this point in time, it seems as if the company continues to make the wrong decisions based on greed and simply takes advantage of its player base across every game they've ever developed. We had no choice. The only thing we can do now is hope that Diablo 4 doesn't follow this sad and beat down pattern.
Well,
And
it's
for many
not
others,
looking
including
good.
myself, this would be Blizzard's last chance at repairing what is a betrayed and broken relationship between us and what used to be a magical company.
Yeah, right. It is
So,
pretty
stop
wild.
Holding out hope that Blizzard is going to come back. Everyone who founded Blizzard, all the principles that Blizzard was founded on, are dead. They've been desecrated.
Yeah, I mean, how many times do we see this with every single company? Like, it always starts when it's the small family-owned business. It's super fucking great to work for, but when they eventually sell out to the big boys, it's the whole culture and everything is all gone. I mean, it's just that simple. Like that. That's just how it is. It is what it is. It happens when you go big corp. On why the game is so dead. Yeah, basically on how it was good and then how it's shit.
Let Blizzard go. That's my main message, is let Blizzard go. Appreciate what was created back when it was done. Stop holding out hope that it's going to come back.
Oh, never good to hear when that's from a
Hope.
previous employee.
Hope is all that remains. In August of 2022, Blizzard announced their Diablo 4 alpha playtest, running for friends and family of Blizzard employees. Jason Schreier, a Bloomberg reporter, states on Twitter, "A bunch of people are playing an early build of Diablo 4 right now thanks to a friends and family alpha test. These players are under NDA, but I'm hearing mostly positive buzz." Schreier also noted that there are
Yeah, I mean, I knew a couple people that got access to it, and like, definitely, it seemed like it was okay. I mean, people say, it needed a little bit more, because I think the closed beta was like end game content, and then I think they got early. I don't know if you guys got like the beginning, kind of like the open beta, but I mean, people that played the closed beta said that it was good, like that it had some annoying things, but
no microtransactions in the alpha build, so players won't have much of an idea what to expect from monetization. Although, Blizzard has previously confirmed that small Diablo 4 purchases will be cosmetic only, aside from larger story expansions.
which I do like. I do like how the battle pass provides you nothing but cosmetics. I think that's like the one thing that Diablo 4 has going for it. Is that all like the XP bonuses that you can get in the battle pass, they're a free tier, you don't have to pay for it. And I'm okay with expansions. Honestly, if the game gets better and is in a better state, I'm fine with paying for an expansion.
Months later, the Diablo 4 endgame beta invites go out in October of 2022, and the playtest
here it
officially
is.
begins. The playtest itself gave lucky testers a chance to go up against Lilith in the post-campaign sanctuary and test out Diablo 4's endgame modes and instances.
Wait, what do they mean modes? What do they mean endgame modes? Did they take things out? Because the only thing that you can do is fight Lilith and a world boss. I guess the Legion events maybe you guys could do, and the other bullshit where your map goes red. I don't know why I'm blanking on what that's called, but I mean, what do they mean endgame modes?
This included the Whispers of the Dead system, the
Okay.
progressively challenging Nightmare dungeons, region-wide Hell Tides, the Fields of Hatred PvP, and the Paragon board progression system. This was the only endgame test they hosted before launch, with enough time to make changes. And this is going to be important and a big conversation topic.
Yes, because dear God, they were getting good feedback the first time they did the open beta. They should have done the closed beta and this months before, and then ran the open beta at this time. I don't think it would change much because by this point they were already working on season 1, but still.
Later. A couple months after that, a massive article comes out on the Washington Post stating that Diablo 4 developers are working overtime to meet the release deadline, and it also includes their own staff, stating there is mismanagement and disturbing script changes that might contribute to delays. It's a process that's been plagued by mismanagement and employees being promised perks for working late evenings and weekends outside of regular work hours, but employees stating they were simply negligible perks, such as a $25 DoorDash credit if they worked more.
Oh my God, that's a good deal. If you work over 10 hours a day, you're basically getting $25 to spend on food. That's nuts. They probably threw pizza parties on Fridays too.
More than 10 hours a day. They described a mounting sense of dissatisfaction and malice amongst employees as they endured leadership change constantly, and that the Diablo team has been losing talent for over a year as employees look for more competitive wages and better work conditions elsewhere. Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick attributed the company's stock price drop to the game delay of Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 rather than the ongoing sexual harassment lawsuit filed against the company in July of 2021. He quotes, "I think what affected the stock price more than the sexual harassment investigation is pushing out the release dates of Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4.
You know what'll really hurt the stocks? Pushing the games, and then when they come out, they're shit. Yeah, I think that'll hurt your stock too.
His comments frustrated some of the company's developers who felt he was blaming them unfairly, stating, "We felt very much like he just drove the bus over on top of us. As you can see, the relationship and chemistry within the company seems to begin crumbling." A person familiar with senior leadership found the performance shares unnecessary and even destructive, arguing that they incentivize leadership to cut corners, compromise, and ship products that are not ready to be released instead of doing what is the best thing for the long-term value creation. Employees state they just went to work every day and got angry, either because the tools were slow or they simply did not like the game that much.
Dude, how are these people working for a company that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars and you're still saying that like the tools that you're provided with to make these games aren't good? I don't know, man. That's just fucking mind-boggling. I want to say I'm surprised, but like I'm not.
They also stated that it wasn't just employees that left, it was many with institutional knowledge and decades of experience, leaving brand new employees and developers.
What's even sadder is it's
from
billions,
elsewhere
yeah.
to fill in. Diablo 4's unannounced internal release date went from 2021 to December of 2022, then got pushed back further to April 2023,
and then June.
finally June of 2023. A former employee stated, "We're at the point where they're not willing to delay the game anymore. So we all just have to go along and figure out how much we're willing to hurt ourselves to make sure the game gets released in a good enough state." To help Diablo 4 get over the finish line, Activision Blizzard enlisted industry veterans such as Rod Ferguson. Rod would hold weekly Zoom meetings.
Dude, it's a shame because like I like their team. Like I mean, I think I've watched every like campfire chat that they've had because they haven't done one in like a while, and like I genuinely like them. Like I think that the group that we see as the like as the outside, like I think they're good. Like I like them. I like Rod. I like there's two Joes. I think like there's Joe, the guy that's right next to him, and there's another one. Like he's okay. But like I like the faces that at least go out there. Like the community manager. Like I like them. Joe shows one that's the game director. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes he seems kind of out of the loop, but like just genuinely, like they seem okay. As of right now, it's worth 74 billion. Oh my god, and they're still Sitting there programming on i3s and 8 gigs of RAM.
Known as Rodcasts, which during them he would talk about celebrities he's met and movies he enjoys. Employees felt that not much actually came out of these discussions, stating, "To me, he came off as a bit of a clout chaser about where he came from, like Gears of War."
Oh, of course, dude. Rod don't give a fuck. Rod's just there to reap the profits. He don't give a shit. He's just here to catch a quick bag. Make some jokes.
We all thought he was gonna come in and fix the game. And when nothing happened, that's when you started to see this massive turnover. The Blizzard Entertainment company that was once so dedicated to quality and putting out the best product they possibly can is currently rushing out Diablo 4 in a good enough state, with employees and team members who don't get along, and leaders who are poor at taking care of their team members. All of this inside of an environment that is polluted with greed and numbers more than anything. With launch just a few months away, Diablo 4 is looking grim. On February 21st, the developers officially released the Inside the World of Sanctuary video, where they had many developers speak upon the art direction, environment, monsters, gameplay innovations, and world building. They made promises and stated they wanted to bring the game back toward Diablo 2.
We wanted to bring Diablo 4 artistically more back towards like Diablo 2, the much darker style.
And they also emphasized non-repetitive gameplay features.
What? Well, that right there is the biggest fucking lie. Anyone that non-repetitive game features? All you do is run nightmare dungeons. You beat the campaign at the call it at what, level 50? 55? And then for the last 45 levels, you run some nightmare dungeons. What do you mean it's not repetitive? That's all the game is.
You never feel like you're always doing the same thing. The pacing is always a little bit different.
On March 1st, they released a video showing the gameplay trailer for the beta early access of Diablo 4, announcing that you could play the game on March 17th through March 19th if you pre-purchase the $90 Digital Deluxe or $100 Ultimate Edition of the game. The $100 Ultimate Edition gives you the advantage to play up to 4 days early over everyone else, the accelerated seasonal battle pass unlock, mounts, cosmetics, emotes, and even rewards for their other Blizzard games such as World of Warcraft, Diablo Immortal, and Diablo 3. By this point, it is very well known that Diablo...
I think I've used this mount in WoW since I've made so many new characters. Like since Diablo 4's come out, than I have anything else that was actually a part of the bundle.
Diablo 4 was going to have a battle pass that was cosmetic only, and a big reward for buying this set of additions was a small boost through the battle pass. It's important to note that the battle pass was not available until the launch of Season 1, which didn't come until a month and a half after the game's launch. The early access weekend for Diablo 4 arrived, and the game was in the hands of the public, allowing you to go up to level 25. This weekend was only available to players who have pre-ordered the Digital Deluxe Edition, and you could play as the Barbarian, Rogue, or Sorcerer. It only allows you to play through Diablo 4's prologue in one zone, and that is Fractured Peaks. Once again, no endgame testing. At first, the servers were plagued with horrendous queue times and error codes. A simple explanation is that there is a repeating cycle going on where players would sit in a sometimes over hour-long queue, finally get logged into the game, to only then get disconnected and be put back in an even longer queue after about 5 to 10 minutes of playing.
Oh,
This
103
continued through most of
minutes.
the night until Blizzard put out a patch that seemingly fixed the problem. This angered many people because they spent additional money to play that said early access weekend, and it started to raise some eyebrows in the community.
Stuck in
though,
queue
from a
hell.
gameplay perspective,
good.
people were relatively happy with Diablo 4 as a game so far. But of course, there were concerns, and there were a few in particular that stood out to the community. And like a dagger coated in poison, issues that seemingly never went away. Some of these include that there isn't anything in Diablo 4 that's redefining what an ARPG can be. Tedious grinds that you're forced to do and aren't even fun the first time, including Renown, Altars of Lilith, Waypoints, and instead of it being fun challenges, it was simply a Google search to find the location and run around and collect them all. The UI across the board needed work, being forced to play online and having no offline mode worried player bases about server stability, and it felt like Diablo 4 wasn't created with the same heart as Diablo 1 and 2
Well, because it wasn't.
Little did they know, it only got much worse moving forward. The open beta weekend arrived, allowing everybody openly to play the game, and all 5 classes up to level 25. Immediately, players are noticing the
Cutscenes
difference
were
in power
great.
between the Druid and the Necromancer, and coming to the conclusion that classes like the Barbarian and the Druid lag behind significantly in terms of kill speed, unlike the other classes leveling. The balance was so bad about the Druid that memes were being made, and the class was nothing but a laughingstock.
For 17 damage.
Players feel as though that the game is missing key features such as the gem tab, skill loadouts, more bank storage, inventory filters, and more quality of life features that are widely seen across gaming. Between the issues with the early access and open beta weekends, players are starting to believe that the game is poorly developed and there is a lot of fine-tuning that needs to be done. Other than that, the base game of combat animations and story seemed good enough for now. After the
It was. And I will say, like, the story, going through it, like, now that it's been out for a while, I'm hearing a bunch of people say that, like, the story wasn't good. I think the story was good. Going through the campaign was fun. Like, I thoroughly will say that level 1 to 45, we'll call it, 1 to 45 of going through the campaign for the first time was fun. I enjoyed it. I think genuine, like, if you take 100% of the population, I think majority would say that the campaign was fun. Right, combat could have been a little bit better, but at, like, the beginning was fun. It was fun. Everybody enjoyed it. And that's not the problem with the game, and we all know it. The story was in a more than a good enough state. It's more just about everything else.
The open beta weekends, the official Diablo team releases the Into the Endgame developer update video, breaking down everything the game has to offer once you reach the end game, and developers made incredibly bold promises that were sadly never delivered upon.
Brand new activities that provide meaningful progression, no matter their playstyle.
There's going to never be an absence of something to do.
Oh my god. Oh my god. There's never going to be an absence of anything to do, boys. There will always be something to do in Diablo 4.
Paragon Wars place where we're allowed to have a lot more depth, a lot more customization, many more options as you go. There's over 120 dungeons to play through and find in Diablo 4, and any one of them can become a nightmare dungeon.
We later found out that this was simply not true, being that there was only roughly 20 nightmare dungeons in a rotation at a time, forcing you to do the same ones over and over again. A few days later, the Diablo 4 team announces they are making significant changes to character classes, dungeon design, UI changes, and more. This leaves people very excited that the developers are listening to player feedback and are excited for the future.
They honestly started off so good. All they do is add risks and greater risks to be satisfied. Now, yeah, I agree. At this point, fucking do whatever. But, like, they started off so good with, like, I mean, I don't want to say so good because there were, like, a lot of big things that they didn't listen to, but they listened to a lot of things early on, and then, like, it just stopped, man. Like, it just completely stopped. They went to that fucking nerf every class into existence. Like, I genuinely think they wouldn't have got review slammed if the Barb and the Sorcerer weren't so fucking useless. Honestly. I think if they had, and the Necromancer, like, if, you know, a Necromancer, which is meant to summon the dead, actually had a good minions build, I think they would have been fine. I think they'd have got review slammed down to, like, a 7 and whatnot, but, like, let's not forget, when it first came out, that game was getting 9s. Ridiculously. Like, they were talking Game of the Year before we got, like, a month into it. Which, you know, some of that is just beginning hype, but, like, they did listen early on, and then it was just, like, they just shit the bed, like, 3 weeks after that.
Through the last few months before launch, the Diablo 4 developers assure us that they're going back to their roots of Diablo 2.
Well, the initial direction was Diablo 2.
The fantasy of a dark, gothic medieval world.
Darker and grittier, and Diablo 2 is kind of the inspiration.
We wanted to bring Diablo 4 artistically more back towards like Diablo 2.
Have we heard this story before? Is this something that Blizzard is doing once again to tug on our nostalgia? Is history going to repeat itself like it did with Warcraft Reforged, Overwatch, and World of Warcraft Classic? The only thing left to do now is hope what they say is true and await launch day. Before you know it, the internet is absolutely slammed with Diablo 4 marketing. Whether it be the KFC collaboration, the non-stop Megan Fox promotions, pre-launch dinner parties with big names in the gaming industry, the Diablo 4 cathedral painting in France, the Halsey Diablo 4 song, and even a launch live-action trailer. They also announced the Diablo 4 hardcore leveling competition, where the first 1,000 users to reach level 100 on hardcore.
Oh boy, and did that ever bite them in the ass, man. Oh, did that ever backfire. They should have never done this. I know you could basically look at everything that they did and say that they never should have done this, but oh man, if you're not gonna give the hardcore players something to where if they disconnect it, I don't know, it doesn't count or they're just back in town. Oh, this was so bad. I can't tell you how many streamers I watched get into the 80s and the 90s and die to a disconnect or a broken mechanic or get off screen or something. This was just such a bad idea. I know what they were trying to do. Give something to your hardcore players and it's cool, but oh, they should have never done this.
Will be eligible to have their battle tag engraved on a physical statue of Lilith on the Blizzard campus. Blizzard held nothing back in wanting all eyes of the world on Diablo 4, and they knew this launch was going to be a big deal for them. It was either going to make or break the company moving forward, and they were ready to show the world what they had in Diablo 4. At least, that's what we thought.
I think they spent more money on the advertising and getting ready for the game than the actual game itself.
On June 1st of 2023, the early access launch of Diablo 4 finally arrived. It doesn't matter too much how amazing a game is or even how well received it is. Shareholders, executives, and accountants want to know how well a game is selling. They revealed that in just 5 days, sales of Diablo 4 had surpassed $666 million in revenue, estimating nearly 10 million game copies sold, not even including the additional microtransactions so heavily apparent inside the game. In corporate eyes, Diablo 4 was booming, and it was nothing short of a monumental success. It became officially Blizzard's fastest-selling game of all time. So, Activision Blizzard was back on top, right? Well,
Yep.
That statement couldn't have been more untrue.
Nope.
Shortly after launch, the internet was flooded with reviews about Diablo 4. The early game, being relatively good from a gameplay perspective, quickly dissipated as people headed into the end game. Because the truth is, Diablo 4 had no innovation and nothing truly creative toward the ARPG genre, and Blizzard simply took no risks. Tree of Whispers are the same thing as bounties from Diablo 3. They kept the same generic gambling systems. Paragon boards are just stolen content from Path of Exile and Vulcan. Nightmare dungeons are just
Yeah, right. Yeah, fucking right. They fucking wish. Bro, they wish that this was stolen. It's worse. It's worse. Like, this Paragon board, or like, you know, skill tree, it's kind of weird because like they have basically, it's just one big board and then you have like your Atlas tree and whatnot. But like, there's no rotating of the bullshit and making sure that it looks a certain... Nah. No. It's bad.
stolen content from Path of Exile and Vulcan. Nightmare dungeons are just riffs from Diablo 3. The new free choice leveling is the same thing as Diablo 3's adventure mode. Nothing here was brand new or innovative. It was the same reused and recycled content, and fans were simply bored of it within a few weeks' time. The most common mistake we see from games with lack of endgame presence is they make the grind to max level longer, so it gives them time to come up with something new. And what did Blizzard do?
Nothing.
Exactly just that. One by one, they were going across the board and nerfing dungeon farms to permit anyone from leveling too quickly from specific dungeons. And when that wasn't enough, they completely nerfed elite mob density across the board. One of the most fun aspects of the game. Instead of buffing the...
I don't understand, dude. I don't understand in what world you play a dungeon crawler RPG and you nerf the density of those dungeons. I don't understand. I just don't. I just don't. Unless you had, like, the only way it makes sense for me is if you were encountering bugs where, like, just shit tons of things were spawning and it was unbeatable and things like that, then I get it, but Oh my god, I don't get why. I don't get why. I think this is where things just went so far downhill. If they would have just let this stuff be, I think they would have been in a better place.
The lackluster dungeons that were boring and slow, they nerfed the fun ones. They continued to do this with nearly everything in the game moving forward. Build diversity was the same result. Across all classes, you could see a clear-cut pattern in people using the same exact builds over and over again. Instead of buffing weak abilities to bring them in line with the strong ones, they simply nerfed the abilities that were performing too well, making everything feel boring.
That'll fix it.
And with the price of recost and the non-existence of skill loadouts or a dual specialization system in play,
Ooh,
it was too
yeah, that
risky
would make
to
too much
constantly be
sense.
testing out and theory crafting new builds. It was too tedious to respec hundreds of Paragon points manually one by one, and flat out too expensive. Having to grind out countless legendary aspects, uniques, and perfect affix rolls on every piece of gear was something that took too much time.
And 90% of them
players
suck.
were reaching level 65 plus, and the level pacing drastically slowed down, and so did the excitement of good loot rewards as well.
So the problem with Diablo 4 is that after you spend about 80 hours into the game, all of the gear upgrades that you can get are so minimal, there's nothing else to do.
So the time it took to level vastly increased, and the rewards and purpose for leveling became so much smaller. It's very obvious to everybody now that Diablo 4 has no endgame, and it was heavily front-loaded. The minor endgame testing, mixed with the constant changing of development teams, and major lack of inexperience and workplace professionalism, was finally starting to take its toll. During this time, the in-game cash shop is being flooded with skins and cosmetic options available for purchase, even some cases where the cosmetic armor bought with real money would be bugged and not even appear on your character. The hard—
Oh, I never noticed this. Oh, I never noticed this. That's bad. That is bad, dude. That's not good. That's not good at all. Dude, I have no problem with microtransactions, right? Like, I don't care. Monetize the shit out of the game as long as you don't go pay to win. Who cares? I wish their skins were better, dude. Like, I genuinely wish that I could sit there and, like, see a $30 skin or a $20 skin, 25, whatever they want to market it at, and be like, damn, that's really nice. I'll support it. Because obviously then in some ways when you're doing microtransactions, most people with common sense can say, you know what, it may not. It's really nice, but at the end of the day, like, I love this game, so I'm down for more money. But, like, their skins, like, they were bad, too. They weren't even nice. Like, you look at PoE, and some of their skins are, like, $60, but they are clean. They look, like, they're awesome. And it's, like, the things that were even in Diablo, the Battle Pass skins sucked. I think the Necromancer had one cool, bundle come out the whole time, but necromancers were fucking useless because you don't have a minions build, so what's really the point of doing it? Like, the only cool thing that I fucking bought was the little wolf that was sleeping on my back because I didn't get to level 20 in the beta because they closed it at noon on a Sunday. Like, that was it. That was it. All of that, like, the entire, from launch to middle of season 1, whenever I played, all of the monetization was garbage. It sucked. If you're gonna sit there and pride yourself and really only care about the money, at least give us some cool cosmetics.
Hardcore player-based drama is at an all-time high, with
Oh,
players
no.
dying constantly to server instability, disconnects, and things being completely out of their control through bugs and poor optimization.
Oh god, that
Even
was
worse,
bad,
to
dude.
confirm
I
your
remember
place as a
that.
winner in the race, you had to tweet the Diablo Twitter account a Diablo 4 hashtag, your full battle net and battle tag, and lastly, a picture proving you.
And why do you even like? I get it, right? This is to farm impressions. 110%. This is to get more eyes on it through Twitter and all that stuff, and I get it. That's totally fine. Whatever. Get more eyes on the game, but can we not pretend like Blizzard can't just log on to one of their systems, see who their highest level people are? Like, I know we don't have leaderboards because that is a way too much to ask for. Like, that was in Diablo 3, like, beforehand. Like, leaderboards is, that's a lot to ask for. But, like, come on. You can very easily filter out your whole player base, hardcore, level, high to low. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
reached level 100. The amateur middle school system of confirming a challenge so important that hundreds of thousands of people are participating in ends up being a massive mistake, and they make errors announcing the wrong winners.
Oh, dude, I remember this. I remember this. This was funny as shit, dude. I mean, it's pretty sad, but that was funny.
This showed a major lack of effort and care in a multi-billion-dollar company, and once again, amateur or brand new developers making huge mistakes, skating by and doing things just good enough once again. There were even several websites out there that tracked the progress of the hardcore characters with having zero budget, so surely Blizzard could have done it themselves.
Oh.
It became too difficult to manage storage inside of a full loot ARPG game. Between gems, legendaries, and...
This was actually one problem that I don't really agree with. I mean, I understand why people sit there and stash legendaries and all this stuff. And if you are a hardcore player, right, and you're making multiple characters and you're going through, like, sure, you definitely need more stash space. I never really was super full on stash space, even with the fucking gems. Take it, like, I think by the end of it when I was grinding, like, my entire first thing was gems and stuff like that. I never used all 4 of these tabs. I never did, just me personally. But I will, like, if they come out with the gem tab, so gems are no longer in this at all, or it can just be separate, or you can basically just have another one here. I'm okay with the stash space. Like, 4 full things, especially if no gems, I'm okay with that. I'm not really that worried about stash space, to be honest. That's just me, though.
And aspects, rare items, uniques, inventory was quickly flooded within minutes of grinding out a single dungeon, and players demanded more room for their other characters. When Blizzard finally responded over a month later, they stated they couldn't add more because it creates a lot of memory overhead. When you see another player in game, you load them and their entire stash filled with all of their items. Things like a gem tab, leaderboard, stash tabs, loot filters, ability loadouts, all announced to be added in future expansions, sometimes as far as 6 months to a year from now. 1 month after the game launches, they hosted a developer livestream bringing us all some crucial updates to try and calm the community down. To kick off the show, they gave us a 30-minute segment on their new Diablo Immortal class, the Blood Knight, and the whole lore behind the mobile game right now. They also finally showed off the Battle Pass monetization and the seasonal blessings that are implemented to help us quickly gain crafting materials, gold, and experience points more efficiently. This is in regard to having us create whole new characters inside of seasonal realms. And believe it or not, those completely backfired as well. When you spent Smoldering Ash to increase the amount of gold or materials that you would gain, there was a bug that would increase the amount of costs of everything as well by the same exact percentages. So it became nothing but an illusion of choice. And to even acquire all of your Smoldering Ash, you actually had to obtain max level to acquire them all, leaving you a system that is nothing but broken and contradictory. Only half of your renown carried over, and half of the brand new content and class changes in Season 1 was locked to the seasonal realms and was forbidden on the eternal realms.
Okay, my hot take here. I am totally fine with when a seasonal mechanic comes out. When a new mechanic comes out for a new season, I am totally fine with it being locked to the season realm. I think that's okay. Because that's the point of getting people to play seasonal. But you need to, if it's a good mechanic, keywords there, if it's a good mechanic, then it should be in the Eternal Realm. For sure. Absolutely. I don't think Eternal Realm characters need to have the newest season. I think, like, if you're going to push seasons and that's what you really want and you make them worth it, that's fine. But I don't think they should be in the Eternal Realm right from the go. I think that's fine, but I do think good mechanics should be in the Eternal Realm. I think if a season has a good mechanic, it should stay going to the next season if it's good. Season 1's mechanic, I don't think should stay, but just me.
Meaning that if you wanted all of these brand new changes and updates, you had to start all over and create a whole new character. You were then forced to go onto seasonal realms, and players were quickly flooded with additional monetization. They even coincidentally made the paid accelerated battle pass button the largest icon and glow red on the homepage. They also coincidentally didn't add a confirmation button so that if you accidentally clicked it, you spent your money without any warning. Bugs even went
Dude, yo, honestly, I wish I was streaming for when that happened, because I totally did that off stream, and like because we didn't really like know about it at the time. Like I just clicked it and I thought it was a glitch. I wholeheartedly just thought it was a glitch. I thought I got it for free, and then I was just like, oh no. Yeah, I wish I was live for that. That would have been a clip for the fucking ages if you guys saw my face.
rampant through Season 1, with people having the ability to trade hundreds of millions of gold, legendaries, and even unique items between the Eternal and Seasonal realms, completely destroying hard-earned player progression. By this point, players were at their limit. Metacritic scores plummeted, and the population slowly dwindled down to nothing within a week of Season 1 being launched. And with the final nail in the coffin, Larian Studios released Baldur's Gate 3 on August 3rd of 2023. Easily being the frontrunner for the Game of the Year, it knocked Diablo 4 out. The game had longer replayability, no egregious monetization, good developers, better RPG aspects, innovative design with stable servers and a real character creator, and gameplay sections with freedom of choice throughout your entire playthrough. Most of these things Blizzard used to take pride in, but those days are now over. A game that just a few months ago had a population of almost 7 million concurrent active players at once has now lost more than 99% of its total population and is shrinking more and more by the day. So what was the exact cause of Diablo 4's failure?
All
Was
of
the
it.
constant change in development teams before launch day?
Yep.
The loss of key figures within the company due to the allegations and
Yep.
walkouts? Developers disliking the game they're creating, and the
Yep.
increased malice between leaders and company team members? Was it the constant delays, the microtransactions being forced onto players? Or is it just the simple fact that Blizzard has completely lost its touch and the era of this once King of Kings is now over? No one really knows exactly. But one thing is for sure. No game in history has had almost 7 million concurrent active players at one time, and within a couple months, get reduced down to less than 40,000 active players throughout the entire day. A 99.4% loss in player base count. This is why Diablo 4 is the biggest disappointment in recent gaming history. Hopefully heading into 2024, they can bring loads of improvements into the game and maybe flip the script on this whole situation. Maybe, just maybe, we can have a solid ARPG to play. But just remember, the new Path of Exile is on its way, and it could very well be too late. Have you played Diablo 4?
That's great.
What are your thoughts and feelings?
That
What do
is
you think is the
fucking
biggest
great.
mistake they made? Let me know in the comment section below. I want to give another massive thank you to our YouTube channel members who support the channel directly and keep this dream alive. You all allow me to create longer, more fulfilling content for you like this one. I really love making content like this, and if you guys enjoyed it, please be sure to like, leave a comment, or even share the video, as I would love to bring you all more content like this in the future. Until the very end, my name is Sky from the Comeback Kids, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.
Oh man, oh man. That was a good video. That was really, I'm glad I watched that and I didn't I saw people reacting to it before and I didn't watch it because I wanted to kind of watch it for myself. I'll link that dude. Definitely, I'm giving him a like. I'm subscribing him. I wonder if they have more oh wow, their channel's actually like really good. They have a lot of, they stay pretty updated and all this stuff. That's cool. That's cool. I'll definitely find more of their stuff to watch. But yeah, man, I don't know. I hope, I'm not gonna go on a big rant about Diablo. We've done that. We know. Hope they figure it out. That was a good video though.